What is up, gamers? We are back. The long winter is over. And we're back. How's everybody doing? He's not. So we are back in Dune. You may recall that we did character creation for Chris's character a few weeks ago. We're going to do the same thing for these two. We're going to create the house that they serve as well. Um, and that is what's up. So, everybody here has either read the book or seen the movie or some combination of both. If you haven't seen Dune, check it out on HBO Max. It's very dope. I like it a lot. Um,
Or
go ahead.
making your first trip back to the movie theater because it was very cinematic and lovely to see in
Yeah,
theaters.
I saw it. I completely agree. I went and saw it in IMAX and was like, this was worth it. Cool. That's dope. Very cool. It's honestly definitely worth seeing on a big screen. It was filmed for IMAX as well, so definitely definitely worth it. So awesome. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna make a house. I've got the book up here. We've got also the basic outline of character creation over to the side if everybody's interesting. Um, or if anybody's interested in knowing about that. And it looks like we got a question in the comments. Leo Effects has a question about it. No, Shai Hulud is not a character option. You don't get to be a giant worm. Uh,
What's the point then?
truly, what is the point? Because otherwise, we might as well just play Star Wars. Honestly, absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, so everybody who plays this game, all the characters are part of a noble house, um, and that is what we will be doing first: is creating your house. So the first step of this is um, choosing the size of your house. Essentially, you can play like new houses that just came up off uh, like into prominence in some way. House miners, which are kind of like bannermen, like lower houses down the power structure of the Imperium. House majors, which are basically like little brothers to the great houses, and then great houses, which kind of analogous to like maybe mostly well-known example is Game of Thrones. Um, the Starks would be a house major, or the Starks would be like a great house, and then a house major would be like the Glovers, um, and then a house minor would probably be like uh, uh, someone farther down the line, like a smaller than that. And it's bad that I didn't have an example for that because I've kind of already made this decision for you all.
Are we a minor house? Can we
I
be the
think House
Baron?
Minor. I think House Minor is the way to go. Um,
Can I just be the Baron though, with like the cracking back and the weird sauna and shit,
yeah,
or
you
the
can
juice?
absolutely be. That was one thing I was gonna say too.
The
Was
Baron.
that we we're running two one shots and they're both set on Arrakis. They're very like intro adventure type stuff, and they're like you want to do Dune, right? So they're both like very Dune specific. And I was gonna say, we're gonna be a house minor, a house that's probably allied with um, House Atreides, for instance. But a fun decision would be maybe what if you're a house minor sworn to House Harkonnen and you're fucking pieces of shit. I don't
I would, I love playing pieces of shit. It's my jam.
know.
We could just really fuck up Chris's character.
Yeah, absolutely. So he did the character we made for him. He was a Sook doctor, um, and yes, absolutely. and yeah, it was in the movie the guy that had the diamond tattoo on his head. Um, he, he is a soup doctor. They're basically like the dopest physicians in the Imperium. They cannot break their word. Like it was like a plot point that guy, you know, uh, turned out to not be that great. No spoilers. Anyway, um, House Minor I think is probably the best because you are established in so much as to have like a solid tradition. You have pretty like diverse holdings and stuff. You're not like really at the bottom of the food chain, but there's like ways to expand, right? Because if you were to just start out with a great house, you have a lot of like that. That's the thing. That's the reason that they're like maybe don't do a great house to start with. So, and this is a little in the weeds here, but specifically threat. There's like a momentum threat system in this game where basically like if the players really succeed, they get a resource called momentum, and if they really fuck up, the DM gets a resource called threat. And so at the beginning of each session, a minor house would give me as DM one threat per player to use just like from the beginning. You know what I mean? Um, so it wouldn't be like if we were playing a great house, I'm immediately getting three threat per player.
So what?
So I think that
So
that's the reason.
is threat like? Sorry, just explain what threat is. Is that like a negative?
Yeah, it's basically like the dichotomy between. Um, I didn't really want to get into the meat of the rules
We
quite
don't
yet.
have to. We don't have to do the rules right now. That's totally fine.
The thing is basically like momentum is something you earn for being phenomenal. Like basically like if you get more than one success, like if you need one success to pass and you get three successes, you get two momentum. Like any additional successes become momentum. In the same way that like you can also um, you can buy additional resources for yourself by giving me threat. And it's kind of like a back and forth sort of like tension tug of rope. Um, so that's essentially what the deal is. Um, but so yeah, long story short, I think that House Minor is probably going to be the best way to do it. I think that that's where we'll go. So sorry to take your first choice away from you, but it's definitely the seemingly the best way to do it. So I'm going Minor.
I trust you, so it's fine.
Absolutely. I absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Nice, 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 nice. Thank you very much. Okay. Next is stay on task domains. Um, so, oh, hello. Please, I'm busy. Busy, I have things to do. Okay. Uh, Domains are essentially things that your house are good at. As a minor house, this is another consideration for why I picked minor house for you guys, is that you get one primary domain and one secondary domain. Um, uh, and they are things that your house focuses on, right? Like you are going to be on Arrakis, but you don't have to be from there, right? Like House Atreides is from Paladin. It's like a different kind of planet. They had like their domain, for instance, was sea power, so they had a very strong navy.
Okay.
And they had so like for instance, you can see here where a great house would have two primary domains and three secondary domains. For House Atreides, it's like two primary domains were air and sea power. They had a strong air force, they had a strong navy, and then they had, for instance, secondary domains that were probably like good at grain production or whatever. So you can see this list here. There's a lot of different domains. Um, you can go for there's kind of areas of expertise that these are divided into. Um, so you could be like very artistic as a house. You could be good spies, solid like agriculturally or industrially. Canley is uh, in the setting. Canley is like uh, espionage assassination. It's basically like warfare between houses that doesn't involve armies. Right? You
Oh,
could be
let's
very good
do
at
that.
that.
That's totally where I'm drawn to.
I'm into that. as well. Let me go through the rest of them just so we know. There's militarily, you can have a domain in military, political uh, reliance. You can also have people as resources, right? So you could be like uh, very religious, like you have a strong part in the faith, strong scientifically, um, and those are kind of the main things. So I agree with you. I think Canley is very dope. Um,
I also like science. I think that would be fun for like just
yeah, so
I
you
like
have
science.
one primary domain and one secondary domain, so you can absolutely do both. And I think that's a cool way to do it. Here's
Pete,
the
what do
other
you
thing
think?
I mentioned as well. The domains are grouped into areas of expertise, like it's subheadings. You'll see that they all have machinery, produce, expertise, workers, and understanding. So um, we'll pick a domain, um, and then we'll break down into a subset. For simplicity's sake, we're just going to use the ones in the book that are listed. So, do you want Canley to be your main domain, or do you want science to be your
I don't know. We also don't have to do those. I don't want to like steamroll.
main? No, it's. I think it's cool. You guys are like. I don't remember exactly what Hefty's character was. He's gonna be very shoehorned into this, just by way that we haven't built the house yet. Um, but I think it's fun because he's a scientist. You know what I'm saying? He's a research doctor, that kind of thing. Like that's what he does. So I think that science is not a bad thing to shoehorn in. Um,
What were you gonna say, Pete? That would be so fun.
oh
See, look.
man,
Oh God, I just need people to be evil with me. That sounds amazing.
I mean this is the setting. This is the setting if you want to do that. Let's see, religion. Faith still plays a large part in the society of the Imperium. It remains a force of powerful enough to create leverage in business ventures and is even a service that can be sold. The trappings of religion are popular, and some houses have found a way to monetize religion and package it for sale. So you could do religion as your primary domain, like you're basically like a pious house, and you have um, uh, sort of like clerics or paladins, that kind of thing, that like follow your religion that you have. And I'm into that. You could definitely be like uh, expertise, like clergy, as your religious domain, and it's your main domain. And then you could do Canley um, assassins or you know what I'm saying, like that kind of thing.
Also,
So I think that you definitely found goal if you're into that kind of thing.
I,
Are
I'm
you?
up. I'm up for it. Also, people are saying that my mic was muted. Can people hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't know if that's because of Discord.
Okay,
Hey,
it's working.
Dream, can
That's
everybody hear Pete?
Yeah. Triceratops said it's working now. That's
Okay, good.
unfortunate that we've gone a little while into this without me
It's
being able
really
to be
funny.
heard.
That's really
15
horrible.
minutes in, we figured out the audio problems. All right, cool. Uh,
Domain major? Are you gonna do major religion
What do you
thing?
think? I'm on
I,
board.
I'm 100% on board with this
How
idea.
much are we screwing Chris over if we do this? That's the real
I don't
question.
think much, honestly. Um, I think that it'll fit.
Are we
It'll
gonna
work.
be baddies?
Let's do
Because
it.
the character I made's a sword master. So, like,
Ooh.
if he's gonna be an NPC in it, it'll fucking work. Like, it'll truly work. So let's see. Here we go. So, religion. Okay, and then sorry, we'll do religion uh, as the major domain. And would you what like subheading would you like it to have? Churches, statues, you know what I'm saying, prayer beads, all that kind of stuff. That's right here in the bullets.
Um,
Maybe I like philosophers and clergy.
Okay.
Um, I
ooh,
feel like
yeah.
that could be like a powerful thing. Like, what if we had assassin clerics?
Yeah. So
That'd be
like very
nice.
like forward facing. It's a very sort of strict church, like very pious, uh, and all of the clergy are trained assassins.
I
That's
dig it.
insane. I love
Also,
it.
your cat is absolutely
So cute.
and every time you move your pen, he's like sitting there staring at it. It's ridiculous.
He's a monster. All right. Cool. Okay, expertise, and then we'll do Canley. Sorry, I'm on the wrong part. Canley. The next step forward from espionage is assassination. To avoid chaos, the Great House has agreed on a set of rules for assassination to prevent slaughter. These forms of Canley are designed to limit both assassins and the inevitable responses that are ruthlessly enforced by all the houses. As such, they are also a lucrative area of business. So, what do you guys? How does your house create things for Canley? They are assassins. Do you want to do expertise as well, like expertise assassin masters,
That's kind of what I was thinking.
workers assassins, that kind of thing?
Yeah, infiltrate. I mean, honestly, workers might be more useful.
Okay, gotcha.
Or understanding even like means of assassination, infiltration techniques, those kind of
Yeah.
things. That's pretty rad.
Gotcha. I
Um,
agree. I think that's so dope. See, that's why I was so adamant about us doing the exercise to make the house together. Because I mean, the game suggests you do it, but I think it's awesome, right? Because now you have an idea of kind of what your character is going to be dealing with, and we're not even done yet, which is the crazy thing.
I just
So
want to
yeah,
be a piece of shit.
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So
Big on being a piece
note.
of shit.
That's what house. Homeworld. Um, what's up with the world, right? Because you're gonna be on Arrakis just because that's what we're running, but you're gonna be from somewhere else. And there's actually a list of planets in the book, so we can run through those real quick and see if uh, something sticks out at you. Okay, we've got. Okay, got Kaladin. That's the homeworld of the Atreides. It's kind of you saw it in the movie. It's basically it seems like it's like coastal Ireland is the
Yeah.
planet. Getty Prime. That's the homeworld of the Harkonnens. It's like a really rainy like megalopolis. If you're sworn to the Harkonnens, like if that's what we're doing, Getty Prime could be a solid place to have a militant church based. Um, Prime Ix. I think Ix is like a historian's planet.
It could be like a secret, like underground cult in a historian's
This
planet.
is
That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Ix is like Ix is like a real science based place. Like it's the most technologically advanced planet in the known universe.
So maybe not with
And they
religion.
have. Seems like they have machines in the shape of the human mind. Uh, just so the chat knows, I've only seen both movies and read the first book and the first half of Messiah. So if I don't know a bunch of stuff, my apologies. Anyway, uh, X seems like a real fuck around place. So we got a whole bunch of other places I've not heard of. Sorry. Anyway, there's a bunch of planets. If you guys have the PDF up, you can.
Yeah, which page are you on?
I'm on page 90 of the PDF,
Okay, sick.
but they start a little farther than that. We can also just create the home planet like um, by um, its own things, right? We can go through a list here. What's the dominant form of weather on the world? What sort of habitation is there, like cities, towns, that kind of thing? Crime rate, yada yada yada. So we don't even have to be from an establishment. So it's your call. Whatever you want to do, we can do it either way.
I mean, if we made our own, I feel like we could really make it kind of dark.
I'm into that. So yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
do that. Let's do that.
But if there's one that already fits really well, I'm fine with that too. And like if
I would
depending
say
on
the one that fits closest, especially if you are going to be a Harkonnen banner person, which I think makes a bit of sense, especially since you're going to be on Arrakis doing business. Um, then Gaiety Prime is the way to go because it is kind of cold and rainy anyway. Like you wouldn't have to do a lot of work to make that be the home world. That makes sense. But there's a really illuminating passage here. Let me try and find it. Let's see. Here we go. It is easy to assume an artistic house is an idyllic planet, but blasted features, dead forests, and brooding mountains might inspire an equally gothic form of popular art. Right? So, like, you can have this really dark, fucked up church, and it doesn't have to be on a dark, rainy world.
Well, that's sort of what I was thinking. Is maybe the whole facade, like a lot of like cults and stuff in general, is that it's really positive on the outside, but then you get inside and it's a little bit more like fucked up, right? So you've got maybe a really idyllic, temperate planet, but then the crime rate is super low because the people are super afraid of all of the people that roll over them or whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too. Just based off this picture, I think that the Cheese is maybe a dope planet to be. A standard class planet experiencing different seasons, rains, and summers found on this temperate world. A single artificial moon. There's like a satellite. They're like really technologically advanced on the planet. Might be nice.
So yeah, we could be like the opposite of that technological advance with our little religious like cult going on.
Yeah, like kind of a seedy underbelly thing.
Yeah, like you have the facade of all this technology, but then underneath it is all this us, whatever we are.
Monsters.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's say homeworld is Richis. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right.
You're pronouncing it as good as I would pronounce it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Radical. I'm having fun. Can you tell I'm having fun? I love role. I love them. All right. Let's create your house. Sorry, I'm scrolling through here. Okay. Banners and arms, which we can come back to, but basically, coat of arms for the house. Something we need to think about. Each noble house has a coat of arms they proudly emblazon on all their holdings to remind everyone what is theirs. The heraldry of the Imperium is nowhere near as complicated as that is Old England, but still serves as a clear symbol of each house. Most houses have a banner made up of one or two colors and a crest, which might be an animal, object, or even chemical element. The colors might be represented on their banner divided horizontally, vertically, or as a stripe, usually behind the crest. It's up to the group to decide about the banner. So, House Atreides has an eagle. I can't remember what House Harkonnen has. But yeah, we can basically do anything. I would say, pick something simple and pick some house colors for that. What do you think? Do you want my cat to be the mascot of the house?
Maybe. Cats are cute on the outside, but can be pretty nasty if you fuck with them.
White cat on black field.
I don't know. We might need. I don't have like a good vision.
I have a joke of an answer.
Okay, what is
it? So if let's we're kind of like slithery, we're like almost like a snake, we're kind of like in the underbelly of everything. So what if it was an S, right? But like we're still in this world of Dune and it's like futuristic and stuff. So we could have like two triangles intercepting the S.
Yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
I have just stolen this. I have just stolen the Scientology emblem.
Oh, you did. Oh, I'm gonna join a cult. I'm so gullible.
Oh man, that's great.
Though, I have been thinking of a name for the house.
Yeah.
What would you think about D apostrophe D E E E? DB. DB, like dice baby.
That's hilarious.
House DB.
DB.
Like real, like gotta have an apostrophe. It's
of course.
We don't have to do that.
I think we need it. I think we need it.
So yeah, we can
do the Scientology logo except with a D in it.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't be marked as suppressive persons if we do that.
So is it like an hourglass, like two triangles, like it's meeting at a point?
It's like a triangle. I'm doing my best right now with my broken wrist, but it's like a triangle, and there's like an S that kind of goes in between them.
Oh, amazing.
I just quickly Googled
I
it. I
listened
didn't know
to
it.
a 6-hour podcast about L. Ron Hubbard. Turns out podcast is an audio medium, so I didn't know what the logo was.
Ah, yes.
Fair enough.
Cool. We'll come back to
Yeah, well, we can set that in stone later.
house traits. So traits is a big deal in this game. Traits are this system is really abstract and kind of hard to explain briefly. But traits are this simple thing that are very, very integral to the system. Basically, um, traits can be anything from what your house is like to what you are like, right? Like what your personality is, to like what the situation of a scene is. Like smoke is a trait, right? Like if you're in a building that's burning, it has the smoke trait, right? So it's really, like I said, it's very abstract. It's kind of strange to try and describe, but you need to select house traits for the house. Um,
Hefty, thank
um,
you for the subscription. Also,
oh,
hope you're doing all right. Hope you're having a good evening.
yes, truly.
Thank you, Chris. Very cool.
Chris, if you're watching,
So,
we're turning your
Leo
character
effects, by the
evil.
way. What time frame will this be? Sorry, I missed that question. We're definitely playing like right around the movie. Like it's going to be like the fall of House Atreides. Like that's when it's happening. So. But you can play in all eras of the setting. I'm pretty sure you can even go all the way back to the Butlerian Jihad game if you want. Does not really matter. Um, anyway, so yeah, you guys need to do house traits. These traits are listed. We'll go and take a look at them in a minute. But basically, uh, you represent the house as a member of it. So the traits kind of like roll down the hill to you, and then you have your own traits. And like I said, traits are kind of a nebulous concept. You can spend momentum to apply one of the house traits to your character. So you can basically be like, our house is honorable. Doesn't sound like this house will be, but like for instance, honorable is a trait. The house is honorable. You can spend a momentum point, like I mentioned earlier, to apply to basically wrap the honor of your house around your character and take that through the scene to make things like easier for people, um, like easier for you to like get over on people who like love honor. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. So that's essentially what the deal is.
Let's just make ours. Let's really throw this game through a loop and say we're honorable as fuck.
I picked honorable as an example, and it turns out the book did as well, and I didn't read it.
It's because people like being good.
Honorable like the Atreides or brutal like the Harkonnen.
Brutal.
So each house begins with a trait for a primary domain it has. This trait is the same as the area of expertise for that domain. So you have religion as your main domain. Let's see, let me take yeah. So your trait would be in relation to the church, probably, for you guys specifically. So yeah, this trait has the same area of expertise as that domain. Each house also begins with the descriptive trait for its reputation. This might be honorable for the Atreides or brutal like the Harkonnen. This trait details the way the rest of the Imperium sees your house and expect its agents to behave. Other traits may be gained or lost by the house during play, usually after an important event that changes their reputation in the Imperium. So, first, how do you see the church? Oh, my bad. One second, we gotta find the traits list. Page 102 is where it starts. That's not where it said it was going to be. Sorry, one second. It's 143. You can see these starting on page 142 if you've got the PDF out yourself. I'm going there for the stream right now. Oh my god, please.
Welcome to PDF Scroller Simulator.
I truly, this is my life forever. Traits are also, like I said, they're kind of nebulous, so we could probably pick them without a list, but why read with them? God.
I'll be honest, they don't really give like a actual list by the looks of it.
You not see a list anywhere? I thought that there were. So.
They kind of explain how traits are used in game.
Yeah, I think that we can probably just, even if there's not a list somewhere, I thought that there was one. Maybe where they said that there was, the list was just where it comes into play for like other things. But yeah, we'll for expediency's sake, we will go ahead and just name them ourselves. So yeah, how do you think? What do you think the reputation of the church is in the Imperium? I think like it's outwardly brutal, or like,
I don't think it's outwardly brutal.
No,
I wouldn't think so.
I
you think
agree.
it's like, but like, is there a
Benign?
term for like outwardly benevolent, but not entirely like actually benevolent?
Superficial?
Yeah.
Almost?
Let's do that. Let's say superficially benevolent. And you could, for instance, spend a momentum to take that trait onto yourself and,
Yes.
be like, here's some money.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To,
It's almost like a deceptive or charismatic, but in like a religious way.
I think charismatic should be important as well.
And let's say that. Let's say charismatic.
How many traits do we get? Do we just get one?
We'll get one for the major domain, which is religion.
Okay.
Which is your church. And then we'll get one for the house's reputation in general. So we'll say charismatic for that one. And how do people see the house? Like, how do people see the family or the organization?
I think it'd be interesting to be like, they see us as really benevolent and like a great organization.
Yeah. And like maybe there's like
maybe they are. Maybe we're giving them a bad rep just because they also have assassins for the church. But like, the setting's pretty bleak. That's not necessarily like a nail in the coffin.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
I really feel like Pete and I shouldn't be in control of this because we just want to be evil.
I'm into it. Charismatic and benevolent totally work, and I think that are good reputations to have. And like we see here, traits can be changed, gained or lost during play, right? So if you guys turn out not to be charismatic and benevolent, people will find out potentially. So that's just how that goes.
So wait, I just want to be clear that I understand. So the first trait that we picked was like the true trait that. Yeah. And then the other one's like the way that we're perceived. Is that what it's more like?
So the second one is how the house is as a whole is perceived. The first one is related to your major domain. Your major domain in this case was religion.
Okay, I see.
So it's basically how, in your case, like for instance, if you pick like agriculture, or military, military is probably the better one. If you would pick military as your major domain, mighty could have been a trait for your military, right? Or weak, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of thing. They don't always have to be positive. Um,
Okay.
so what we've said here is that people find your church charismatic,
Okay.
that like it brings people in uh, easily, that kind of thing. And then the house, we haven't come up with a name for them yet. That the house is benevolent, has a reputation for being like very like open with their money and helping people out.
My thought with that, I mean, and maybe that should
And it,
also be superficially benevolent, right? Like maybe that's a better descriptor, but like they
well,
do
yeah,
everything they
and I
can
think the
to
thing
like,
is, yeah, the thing is basically like you can or don't have to be actually benevolent. That's just how people see the house.
okay.
Cool. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is roles. So you all are you can act like you could play this game and be Lady Jessica and Paul Atreides and Duncan Idaho and Duke Leto and all that, right? But the way that the game is essentially set up is that the player characters need something to achieve. So in general, the roles that they want you to make for the house are like actually the lord of the house, like you know what I'm saying, like and you are maybe like a servant of like whatever your goal is, right? Like so for instance my character that I made was a sword master, right? So my character would be like the apprentice to the sword master, that
Oh,
kind of thing.
okay.
So that's how that goes, and I think that that's again the best way to do it. um, so roles are things we've got to fill. um, So there, if you see the house sheet, if you pulled up the house sheet, there are a lot of these lists um, that like these roles listed that we can do. We don't have to have all of them, but I'm going to run through, and I think we need to do five. Like we need to flesh out. We'll flesh out three roles.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'll do the ruler in general, and then we can flesh out the roles for the characters that you will be like subalterns to um, as well. I'm going to go through the list real quick. There's ruler, consort, that's like Lady Jessica, for instance. Advisor, um, that could be like a mentat or something. Chief physician, that's probably Hefty's boss, right? Envoy, basically like the house's chief diplomat. The heir, right? That's like Paul Atreides, for instance. Marshal, probably Gurney Halleck in House Atreides would be the marshal. Counselor, basically like the right hand of the political process. Sword master, scholar, spy master, treasurer, war master. Again, this one's probably Gurney Halleck as well. Um, so those are all the ones you can flesh out. And I think for a full campaign, you would definitely want to like have all of these characters figured out. Um, but for our purposes, I think we just need to know the ruler, maybe the heir if that's an important thing to know, and then your bosses technically. So like whatever field that you guys want to go into. So, what do you think? Um, what do you think is up about the ruler of this house? And we'll name him. I have a name generator pulled up.
So my immediate thought was sort of like, and this would go into the air, but sort of having like an elected pope-like figure as like a religious thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I love that. That's really cool. Okay,
Almost.
ruler, current leader of the house, bears name and surname, hold noble title. So we'll say his noble title
I
is
I would
uh,
say to make things simple, like the noble title could be like their new name, right? Like you don't really have a name and then you become this new title and
Yeah.
that I don't know.
yeah. So what if we did like um, let's take like an old Roman one. Oh no, they use one in Dimension 20. Um, Pontifex. You think
Oh,
Pontifex is the cool? Could be the
Pontifex, I'm down.
cool. Okay. We'll just say Pontifex. All right, and he's basically the Pope. or he or she, and we'll do a name generator unless you got an idea.
I don't know. I'm feeling a big old old dude, but maybe that's just.
Okay, yeah, I'm into that. Cool. Sci-fi space name generate. We got Kenny.
Definitely Kenny.
Yeah, full send.
We got
Kenny G even.
Yeah, we got Arond, Inert, Ruwalt, Harley, Bruce, like with Brusse, Ralphua, Jimmy, Jammy, and Brankev. That'll be the first name.
Do you have a preference, or do you want? Should we click? What do you think?
I can also click generate again if you don't like any of those.
I don't care. No, I mean, I'm down with whatever. Kenny G.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Listen, honestly, it's the future of Earth. Let's call him Kenneth.
Kenneth.
Pontifex Kenneth. He's your pastor. He's your youth group leader.
Pontifex Kenneth.
Kenneth, and then he'll have his last name will be the surname of the house.
Yeah, I think Pontifex. I don't really think we need surnames, right? Because it's an elected official. So then, our house isn't necessarily people with a bloodline.
Oh yeah, okay, I like
what
that.
I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But unless someone has something different.
Yeah, I'm into that. So yeah, no heir, no consort, none of that kind of stuff.
Well, they can have.
That'll open us up to just have your bosses being the other.
Unless you want to have an heir as a prominent figure that will likely be chosen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like a cardinal.
I was even thinking maybe it could be they're the Pope, but it's like a hereditary thing because this is a feudal society.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking almost like how England does it, the ruler is really not actually powerful at all. It's just kind of like a figurehead, and the actual advisors and stuff are the ones really pulling the cards and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I take that.
Well, yeah. So we got the Pontifex up here, and they are probably, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm into that. And then basically the real power is the advisor and the consort and stuff. Cool. Then in that case, let's do the counselor. Probably is the best one we need to flesh out. Counselor connects the royal to the people, or the ruler to the people who serve the house, receiving and sorting through the requests of the citizenry to pass on to the ruler and presenting the ruler's decisions. So basically, this guy is the real power behind the throne type thing. So yeah, what's his deal or her deal? Is that basically we've decided that's what their deal is?
Yeah. I think so.
I think that sounds good.
Okay, let's.
My vision is like a Grima Wormtongue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm into that. Okay, here's the name that stuck out to me from the generator. Dudley Rooksanch.
Dudley Rooksanch?
Uh-huh.
Sure, why the heck not?
That sounds correct.
What about Steven, Nebraska?
Nebraska. All right. Okay, we're doing yes. Dudley.
Maybe we have 49 potential states, right? Sally, Pennsylvania.
Here we go. Wait a second. I got it. I got it, and I'm gonna put it up to the camera, and you'll see what I got. Here's what I got. We got Dudley Steven in quotes as his nickname, Nebraska.
Dig it. I dig it.
That man is a viper. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Indeed.
Love it very much. That's a bad K that I wrote in pen. Okay. Cool. So yeah, I think that's definitely all we really need right now for this. We'll go back and establish who your bosses are once we have your characters made. So the last thing that we got to do for the house, two last things actually, enemies, and then we got to come up with your motto, the house motto. like winter is coming or whatever. But yeah, enemies. This is a fun one. I love this one. Do you have a D20 out, Megan?
Always.
So, House Minor, and this is another reason why I picked House Minor for you all. You have an enemy house instead of like if it was a nascent house, you wouldn't have one. If you were a great house, you would have like 3 enemies, and that seems like a whole fucking thing, and a faction to like hate you. So like, no way. House Minor, one minor house, you hate them for no reason. So we can either pick why they hate you, or you can roll a d20 and leave it to fate. And there's a table right here. Your call.
Oh, Pete, what do you think?
I'm down for D20 shenanigans. I'm always down for chance.
What do we want? Do we want to roll? Oh God, which dice do I pick now? I'll pick a medium dice because I don't know what to roll.
Cool.
It was a 17.
17. Canley, that works!
It works really well.
You guys are just assassinating each other. Okay. Alright, here we go.
Is that boring?
No, I love it. I love it. You have a fucking shadow war happening? It's dope. Finally, we would be remiss not to mention that your house will have enemies. Even the most pleasant and honorable house has someone that hates them. This might be for some imagined slight or belief that they are not as they appear, but it might just as easily be because they are honorable and decent and despised for that. One often sees their own failings in the face of one's enemy. The player's character's house will probably begin to play with an enemy or two. No one gains power in the Imperium without upsetting a few people on the way. How many enemies they have depends on how high up the house, the character's house has risen. As a minor house, you got one minor enemy. You rolled a 20, roll a d20 for each enemy your player character's house has, determining how much that enemy hates them and how far out of its way it's willing to go to bring them down. You rolled a 17 on the chart. Canley, and considering that Canley is your minor domain, I think that this fits really well. The house has dedicated all its resources to seeing the player character's house not only fall, but be wiped out to the last person. They take any risk if it might see an end to the player character's house.
Good God. Maybe we shouldn't have Canley. Can we go back and unroll?
No, I love it.
Let's go back to hate.
I like how it goes from, oh, every interaction is just a little more difficult to they want to wipe every last man, woman, and child in this whole population.
When they rolled up House Atreides, the Harkonnens rolled a 20.
Yeah, clearly.
But that's what's up.
We're vicious.
Cool. Okay.
So I think this should be like some like science-based house that hates us or something like.
Yeah.
So
we're something very logic.
That they hate you is also another d20.
Oh.
Yeah. There is a reason for this rivalry, although the details may be lost to history in some cases. Roll a d20 on the list and choose a reason that makes. You can either choose a reason that makes sense or roll a d20 on the list. I think we're rolling the d20.
Yeah, I'll roll this one.
Oh yeah. We know
15.
15. Theft.
Oh.
Something one house has acquired, used to belong to the other house. While the possessor insists the item came to them fairly, the other house insists nothing could be farther from the truth. Coveted item might be an ancient artifact, piece of advanced technology, a title, or even something more abstract in the favor of the emperor. Both houses have passed the point where simply returning the item, if possible, can solve their difference.
Okay, I love the abstract idea of like maybe pulling the higher ups like the emperor towards the cult side of things, and that being what we stole, pulling it away from science and sort of like devolving back into this uber religious.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Awesome. So what you stole was the hearts and minds of the Imperium.
Yeah.
If you like that.
Awesome.
I don't know what we would physically steal.
No, you don't have to. That's what I'm saying. This game is really abstract. It does not have to be physical shit.
The only physical thing that came to mind was like we stole like some of their like legit tech, and we're just like, yeah, this is the maker stuff.
Ooh,
and just like start passing it off as some like religious mumbo jumbo or whatever.
Oh man, I
or
like that.
or are using that technology for our assassin like stuff like
This
under the
house is
radar.
fully. This house is like you guys are Scientology, and this house is the FBI. Fully are like, no way, not gonna happen. You're not getting tax exempt status.
No, it's the IRS versus
IRS,
Scientology.
the
That's what we
IRS.
stole. We stole the tax this thing. We're tax exempt now, and the
We talked
FBI is
about
mad
we
about
talked
it.
about Scientology way more than I thought we would on this stream.
Scientology is fascinating.
What is the enemy house's name?
Um,
Want to generate a name for him?
Ursa.
Okay, I got one.
No, I'm just kidding.
House Reason. WRESON.
yeah, you know
I'm
what?
into it.
I would go to war with someone who spells it like that.
It's not very reasonable.
All right, we're ending the stream
love it.
right here.
Honestly,
Thank you for coming by, everybody.
Sorry. I'm a dad in my spare time.
Awesome. The house is created, y'all, and I'm very excited by this house. I think it's very dope. What is their motto?
Murder, death, religion. No, I don't know.
We can think about it.
That's hard. I don't know.
Okay.
I want it to be something that's like, I mean, it would be something nice, right?
Eat, pray, assassinate.
Pray, assassinate?
Eat, pray, assassinate.
Okay.
Maybe like for the people or something very much like that.
Ooh,
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Just like we can come back to that. I don't feel like that's gold, but like you know what I mean.
Blue skies here, man. There's okay.
So we have a suggestion for the name in the chat. House Poopy Gooch.
House
Ooh.
Poopy Gooch. I haven't said Poopy Gooch in years. Oh,
Thank you,
Chess.
underscore
Emily
chess.
Chess knows that I haven't said Poopy Gooch in years. Used to be somewhat of a catchphrase.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Look at this beautiful art of Arakeen.
I was gonna say
Hey, just
the
real quick
art
with
in
a little devolve thing. There is a medicine out there right now where a side effect is a bacterial infection of the perineum, which is in fact
I've seen that too, and it's very funny.
it's a taint fungus, and I'm like,
in the fine print, it's like the perineum is the portion of skin between the.
oh no, I didn't. Terrible.
You're like, great.
I'm like, where's your life at that having an itchy gooch is better than whatever else is going on? You know what I mean?
Honestly, and I'm like, wow, like how specifically the perineum and nothing.
Wild,
really wild. I'm not a scientist.
So before you said that, I was going to say I really love the art in this PDB or whatever this is, this player handbook.
It's truly so dope. Like, I love.
So it's a bit of a stark difference to that conversation.
The people riding a bike with their taint fungus.
Yeah, taint fungus, please. Okay, we are creating your characters now. We're gonna run through. So finally, the steps that are posted here on the side panel of the stream are the steps we're going to be going through, and we're going to make your characters side by side. So we'll go step by step, and we'll make your characters as you go. You're expected in this game to be pretty dope. In fact,
Sick.
It says in this game most of the time you're not even going to be rolling dice. Like your character is going to be someone who is skilled or is skilled enough to like manifest things to make them happen. So, obviously we're going to have stats, we're going to roll dice and that kind of stuff. And, for the most part, you just have to know that like you're high up in the house, but you're not like all the way at the top. You are skilled, you're dope. Like you're not some like level 1 mook basically in this game. You know what I'm saying? You didn't like just show up like you would in like D&D, for instance. So that is kind of what you need to keep in mind. So the first thing that we're going to do is sorry, I need to get that list up. Okay, concept. So yeah, you just basically need an idea of who your character is, and like kind of what their deal is. Planetary. Okay, I was wrong. Okay, here we go. Concept. So the first thing is are you going to be part of a faction, right? Because you can be part of a faction outside of the house structure, right? You can be in the Bene Gesserit, for instance, like Lady Jessica is. You can be a Fremen if you want, which I think maybe doesn't make as much sense considering your house isn't from Arrakis. Um, but you can certainly be a Fremen if you want. Mentats, they're the living computers. Um, you can be a Space Guild agent, which isn't really in the movie, but they're basically um, the guild that owns all of the lightspeed travel in the Imperium. They're really powerful. They're kind of corrupt as well. Souk doctors. Hetty's already going to be one of them. You can certainly be one if you want, but maybe I would avoid this one just because we've already got another one in the party. Um, so yeah, if you want to be in a faction, you can, and that's the first consideration. So, do any of those stick out to you as something that you want to be?
Not particularly. I don't see how a Bene Gesserit sister would necessarily play a huge role in the
Yeah.
society that we've built, but I like the whole.
Maybe you're like, yeah, maybe like if you were a Bene Gesserit in a house that is known for having a like radical faith, that you're basically like, I'm just here to fucking watch the shit, like
Yeah,
make sure it doesn't go too crazy.
I feel like if they're like trying to like find if like that doesn't anyway, I don't think any of them match with what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I kind of agree. What about you, Peter?
Um, I'm thinking. So the Space Guild agent might be
Yeah.
interesting.
Um, yeah. All the elusive navigators and steermans that are never seen outside the guild, and therefore cannot be player characters. Those are like, if you've seen art of the rest of Dune, those are like the things that live in tanks and are like mutated humans, like they're fucking crazy. So they can't be player characters. But
Oh,
the
gotcha.
faction has agents across the universe. Guild agents are a point of contact for noble houses wishing to travel or trade, and some are assigned to a noble house to maintain good relations and offer priority service, commonly assigned to any house that hosts a guild facility, such as a bank on their lands. However, guild agent is often more than just a point of contact. They also make excellent financial advisors, and while they cannot pilot a fold space vessel, they are often experienced space travelers. So essentially, what his deal is, if you're going to be a guild agent, um, the way I would kind of fold it into your house is that like your church is something that has a lot of pilgrims coming. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Or like you have a pilgrimage somewhere, or you have clerics that need to get here and there, that kind of thing. To the point that the Spacing Guild would have placed your character there to be um, like the go-to guy to like facilitate this kind of like uh, inter galactic travel.
Right. Okay.
So that, I mean, that's definitely an idea if you want to do that. And I think that it's a cool idea. I don't personally know a lot about the Space Guild because they're not really in the first book.
Gotcha. Then maybe a mentat with like this like twisted mentat talent I'm reading
Yeah,
about. I'm not really sure, but like that might be
I kind
interesting.
of like that too. That's like the Mentat that is played by the dude that is the Russian guy in Ant Man.
Yes.
Is like a bad Mentat in the movie.
Okay.
And like it says spy and steward right there. Like you could be close to a counselor or
Now you could be
something.
like
Yeah.
directly under Dougley Steven Nebraska.
I think that'd be
Ugly
dope.
Nebraska.
I think that'd be really dope.
Okay. So that's the first thing that we need to handle. If you want to be a Mentat, are you sure that that's how you want to go?
Yes. Yes. Let's go for it.
So, um, cool. Select a faction template if applicable, and record its trait if you do. So, um, you on your character sheet,
Mm-hmm.
under uh, personality traits, this box right here. Sorry, I don't have my camera up. This top box right there,
Yeah.
where you'll put Mentat is going to be one thing. You'll also need to take at least one of the talents listed here, and we'll go and look at the talents later. Um, you wanted to be Twisted Mentat, so we'll check that out. We'll scroll down and check that one out. If you
I'm not set in stone with it yet. I haven't really looked at it.
but so um, I would copy and paste just this whole block so that we don't miss anything just out of the PDF, so we don't have to keep scrolling back to it. Um, uh, Mandatory talents, like I said, at least one of the following: calculated prediction, mentat discipline, mind palace, twisted mentat verify, uh, any of which may be taken in place of any other talent choice. Um, so that is something you need to think about. And then it has, to help you out mechanically, it's got suggested archetypes for mentats.
Mm-hmm.
Archetypes are the next thing that we're going to pick down the list, I believe. So they are good, like Megan mentioned, they're good spies, stewards, strategists, tacticians, that kind of thing, because they are living computers. For people who aren't familiar, in the setting of Dune, there was basically a Terminator style apocalypse where the machines rose up uh, like thousands and thousands of years ago, and since then, computers have been illegal, and humans have evolved to be thinking like human computers, basically, and that's what it meant.
That's pretty rad.
So they're very dope. I totally agree with you. I think they're dope. So yeah, cool. Step two's archetype, and that is, I think, where Megan, you'll be able to really decide what you want to do. These are the breakdowns of the archetypes um, listed here. Um, Analyst, athlete, commander, courtier, duelist, empath, envoy, herald, infiltrator, messenger, protector, scholar, scout, sergeant, smuggler, spy, steward, strategist, tactician, warrior. Um, so both of you will pick an archetype as well. Uh, Peter, the Mentats have suggested archetypes to kind of boil it down to you. And you can see for each archetype, this is basically your class, quote unquote. You'll see your primary skill and your secondary skill. Um, so that will kind of describe to you what is good. And in fact, at this point, I think I'll go back and give you what the stats mean real quick. Let me see if there's a good. Oh no, okay, it's not here. Here we go. Once the PDF loads. Basically, what the core mechanic of this game is the way that it rolls. If you look at the character sheet, you'll see that there's drives and skills. You'll see this part right here. Is that on the stream? Yes. Okay, the first box on the stream right here, skills and drives. Skills are what your character is personally good at, right? And they're broken down into battle, communicate, discipline, move, and understand. And these are kind of breakdowns of like what they are, right? So like battle is good for physical conflict and strategy. Communicate is for like social tasks, that kind of thing. Discipline, whatever. They're pretty self-explanatory. And then you have drives, which are like what your character believes. Um, and a little later on, we will rank these, um, and that is how you kind of discern what your character is good and bad at. And so, whenever you do a thing, um, I'll tell you what skill you have to do, and then we will bargain. You'll tell me what drive you want to apply. You'll add the total for your skill and your drive together, and then you'll roll 2d20 um, at least. And at least one of those needs to be under the total number that you've added together from your skill and drive. And that is how you like pass checks in this game, right? So you basically are like, for instance, I want to sword fight a dude, right? I'll say, okay, give me a battle check, and then you'll say, what's driving you to do this, right? So, like for instance, my character, uh, the sword master I made, duty is his top drive, and so it's like I'm doing this because it's my duty to do it, or you know what I'm saying, like or battle faith. I'm doing this because this is how my like, this is how I want, to display my faith or whatever that kind of thing. So that's kind of what these skills are. Okay, not to be too long winded, but that's the core mechanic of the game that we're finally getting to here. Um, so yeah, here we go. Archetypes. I'm going back to the page where we were at. So yeah, we'll pick an archetype, uh, and your primary skill and your secondary skill are listed for each one. Um, so select a general archetype for the character. These archetypes are designed to be relatively broad and cover a range of concepts, and it shouldn't be difficult to find an archetype that fits the concept you devised during step one, um, uh, aka what you've been thinking about. In summary, each archetype provides a trait, like we've talked about traits before, representing the character's role or status, which will be the archetype's name. So basically, like one of my traits was Swordmaster, right? Because Swordmaster is kind of his title. His actual archetype, I can't remember which one I picked. I think it was Duelist. But yeah, your trait basically describes your job, which is a function of your archetype. Um, and then you'll one skill is marked as primary, then one secondary. Uh, so anyway, it's crazy. And then you'll get focuses that we'll get down the road to that as well. Basically, this is you picking your class. Um, so not to ramble too much. Do you guys have any ideas which archetypes you want to go to? And obviously, we can scroll down to look at the descriptions of those archetypes as well. Just what do you find interesting?
So I'm thinking, for me, I like the idea of a courtier. I think that can be useful. I like obviously spy, steward, and then um, scout. I thought might be interesting. I know
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Where are the list of? Where are the list of archetypes? I thought they were right down here. Sorry, one second. Damn it! I hate PDFs. Can you tell? Can you tell I hate PDFs?
They do suck. So
Christ. Okay. Let's see. Battle archetypes. Okay. Don't want that. Here we go. Courtier. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So that would be your trait, right? Courtier. Assorted attendants, advisors, clerks, agents, others with positions at court or access to the rulers of the house. Not all who have a position at court will always be this archetype. Those who attend court because of their knowledge or prowess in other fields, such as soldiers, may fit other archetypes better. Trusted courtiers are skilled speakers and listeners for access and knowledge are the advantages of the courtier, and they are often at the forefront of palace intrigues. Um, so yeah, you would be like primarily communicate and understand would be your main skills. Um, Focuses are uh, things that like you are very good at. Like specifically for my swordmaster, my focuses were dueling, unarmed combat, short blades, and stealth. And those are separated on the primary and secondary skills. Um, Talent is another thing that we'll pick as well. Subtle words, which has a breakdown. It's kind of like a feat would be in D&D. And then drives are what's driving you. For instance, a courtier is like very ambitious, potentially. Um, so that is what that one looks like. Is that kind of what you had in mind?
I don't know. It's so hard to decide. Just trying to read through some stuff.
Yeah, it's. Do you have the PDF up?
Video.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot, right? So you can see that they're broken down into the subheadings for the skills, right? So the battle ones are up here, the communicate ones are down here. That's where we were just looking at. Discipline it has a couple archetypes, and then move has a couple as well. Understand. Um, so yeah, scroll around, see what you like, and let us know. What about you, Peter? Have you decided on one?
Oh goodness, I have not.
There's a lot.
There's so many. This is like too many options. Um,
They're very broad, though, right? So like that was kind of why they're like, oh, have a concept at least coming in, like kind of who you want to be like. I would say you can even probably take it outside of Dune. Like if you're into Game of Thrones, like that's definitely one that would have very analogous type stuff in it, or you know what I mean, or like basically any kind of fiction you're into, there will be something broadly um, similar that you can like base a character off of. Um, for instance, like spy is easy, right? Like that definitely makes sense for what your house does. Um, Herald for sure is one that would work for your house, just
What
based off
about
what the whole deal is.
strategist?
I like strategist. That one's under understand.
It's understand in battle, which I think could be useful, but it mentions Canley as a focus.
Yeah, you're basically that one's really cool. So your primary skills understand, yours is battle, so it's like real tactical. Um, Experts in manipulation and coordination of military forces, and thus understand power extremely well. They also rely heavily on their faith in the forces under their command and higher powers. Also, faith doesn't necessarily have to be like a religious aspect, though. With your house, it probably will be.
Right.
Faith can also be like faith in like a power structure or faith in people, or you know what I mean. So like faith with a capital F doesn't necessarily mean religion.
Right. Okay. God, I don't know. There's so many.
There are a lot. I basically was like, I want to be good at swords, so I went that way.
I want to be good at manipulating people into joining our cult and then falling prey to our power.
Strategist probably is a good way to go. Maybe Herald. You could look at Herald as well. I think.
What's that one under? Oh, I found it.
You're basically like with Herald. I picture you being like the dude from Avengers: Infinity War for the Black Order that shows up. He's like, "Glorious Thanos is here to take you. Rejoice, for Thanos is here." That's basically your fucking idea. Um, a herald will often have faith in a greater plan or purpose for their house, and duty is often a common drive for those appointed to such an important role. Basically, like Herald too, like in the movie, the person that comes to Kaladin and like reads off the Emperor's like order, the House Atreides like takes over Arrakis. Um, like that's definitely a herald, um, for sure. But yeah, let me.
I think I'll
Go
probably
back
go
up.
with spy. Honestly, I think it fits well with the computer guy, whatever they're called, Centrat.
Yeah, I think you're
Movie.
right on that. Okay, so let's say we'll say spy for you. Um, so we'll go down to step 3 for you while Megan's looking at the rest of the.
What's what? Sorry, where is this on the? Is this the duty?
No,
Or
these are
sorry,
skills. Skills are the ones that we're doing first. And we'll do drives is next. So
or is it role? Is that what we just picked?
archetype. Okay.
Archetype. Okay.
Yeah. Archetype.
Sorry.
No worries. Um, uh, Archetype is really just like to kind of let you know how you're gonna distribute your skill patterns and kind of like give you an idea what your character is gonna look like. Um, so here's how we're gonna do skills.
Where do we write that down on our character sheet, though? There's the
That's
name.
what I was thinking. It
Role
doesn't really
type.
show it.
Okay. What
Um,
is the role? Is that like our
Role
job?
is like what you do in the house. Role is like
Okay.
ruler. You know what I'm saying? Like ruler, consort, heir, that kind of thing. Um, so they don't really have a place for that, unfortunately. It's very strange. But step 3 is skills, and that's where this is going to come into play. So if you have an archetype, um, hover over that real quick so that you know exactly like what your main secondary goals are. Um, I'm going to read this part real quick. Each character has 5 skills as described in the previous chapter: battle, communicate, discipline, move, and understand. These cover the character's broad aptitudes and capabilities, forming a major part of skill tests the characters attempt during play. All characters have a skill rated between 4 and 8. At this stage in character creation, you will have the following skill ratings. The primary skill, if you have some scratch paper or like a notepad on your computer, this may be.
Yeah, let me
You don't really. It's not a lot of things, but you get to move the numbers around a little bit.
Okay.
Primary skill for your archetype is rated at 6 right now. So for spy,
Understanding is at 6.
understand is rated at 6. And then secondary skill is rated at 5. Your secondary skill for spy is move. Um, the rest of them are at 4. So understand and move are at 6 and 5. Battle, communicate, and discipline are at 4. Once you've done this, you may increase any skills you wish. You have 5 points that you can distribute between the skills. No skill may be above 8. So you can make the skills as you can take your, for instance, you can put 2 points out of the 5 into understand, and to take it all the way up to 8, for instance. Or you can put 1 point in all of your skills, have 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, for instance. You can do that real quick. That's the first step here. And let me know when you're done with that. And it's the same with you, Megan. Have you landed on an archetype?
Fuck, I don't know. No.
I'm making my guy really bad at communicating. I think that would be funny.
I'm into it. Yeah.
Really good at understanding, and then like once he has the information, he just won't be able to tell anybody. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. You can't. So I don't think you can take anything below 4. For instance,
right.
You can only,
right.
You can.
I just improved everything but communication.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have your skill points assigned?
Yes.
Okay. So a starting character has 4 focuses, and you can see that those are listed beside the skill in the empty box. Representing areas of expertise and specialization beyond their broad skills. These focuses will be associated with a single skill, which represents a skill which will use that focus most often. Any focus can be used with any skill if it applies appropriately to the action in question. However, a focus in gladiatorial dueling is going to be used with battle more often than understand, for example. So your chosen archetype has 2 focuses, one of which will be associated with the archetype's primary skill. So if you go back up to spy, you'll see deductive reasoning and canly are your focuses. So you can put those your secondary skill.
Sorry, hold on. You cut out a little bit. I can put them what now?
These focuses that are listed under spy, you can put one on the primary skill and one on your secondary skill, and however you want to do it. Probably deductive reasoning goes under understand, and canly goes under move. I would assume, but you can put them wherever you want. Basically, the focuses mean they are like they're just like things that you're very good at. I think you get a mechanical bonus for them if you like use them correctly, but I can't recall off the top of my head. And then once you assign those 2 focuses, I think you get 4 focus. You get 2 more focuses after this that you can apply, and there should be a list of them somewhere. Let's see.
Okay. Before we move on too far.
Okay.
What about the steward?
Steward.
You can go on and keep doing look for your things.
So what does steward do? While I'm looking for this?
Primary skill communicate, secondary skill discipline, focuses leadership and negotiation, talents stirring rhetoric, which I thought sounded interesting. Drives. Stewards are often chosen from amongst those who prioritize duty above all else, as long as their dutiful nature is accompanied by sufficient competence. Many stewards are also highly ambitious individuals seeking to gain status, recognition, and ultimately power from their work.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm into that, and it definitely works for the way that you've set up kind of like a pope situation.
My thought is maybe my character's like a cardinal.
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. That's dope.
And like
I love
trying to
that.
like get in and be sort of this like tertiary character towards one of the higher ups and is like trying to weasel their way in. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm about it for sure. Yeah, let's
Does
do
that make
that.
sense? With does that actually make sense with our house? Because I could pick something that's a little bit more
No, I think
in
it totally does. I think it's
use.
like I love the aspect of making it a cardinal specifically, like somebody who
Yeah.
is like you really, and that makes you kind of like next up in line to be the boss.
Right, but there's I would argue that there's a bunch of other people on my same level,
Yeah, exactly. Like
like
you're one.
non-Imperium.
Yeah, you're like definitely like one of many. Um, I'm so lost. I hate again. Truly, I hate PDFs. Here's example of focuses. Um, so you can pick two more of these. They need to be for move and understand since they're your main goals. So here's example move focuses: acrobatics, body control, climb, dance, distance running, drive, like operating, like literally driving the car, escaping, grace, piloting. You would pick the craft that you want to pilot. Stealth, swift, swim, unobtrusive, worm rider. Pretty cool, but you have to be a friend, so you actually can't take that one. Then for understand, these are more focuses as well. Advanced technology, botany, bureaucracy, specifically for CHOAM, which is a big like mega corporation. Cultural studies, danger sense, data analysis, deductive reasoning, ecology, emergency medicine, etiquette, faction lore, genetics, geology, house politics. You can see how it goes. Canley specifically, but you already have that one. So yeah, these are you can pick two more focuses, um, and they need to be either for move or understand.
Okay.
Out of these lists, and this list is on page 104 of the PDF. No, I'm sorry, page 113 of the PDF, page 104 of the book.
Okay.
Um, cool. So yeah, for Steward, I'm gonna go back and talk about Steward real quick. So yeah, Megan, for Steward, you have your main skills. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Primary skill is communicate. Secondary skill is discipline. So communicate, you're going to set at 6. Discipline, you're going to set at 5. And then battle, move, and understand are all going to be at 4. Okay. And then now you're going to have 5 extra skill points to distribute however you want.
And is it probably worth putting our strongest skill up to 8?
I think so, right? Because if you think about it, um, the drives go from 4 to 8 as well. You don't get skill points for them. They are literally 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and you rank them. Um, so if you were like, if you had your primary duty, your primary drive and your primary skill, you have to roll under a 16 to succeed on
Okay.
2. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, it's definitely worth having a high number. I think because you're adding them up, you're trying to roll under, but you don't have to, right? Like if you want to have a more balanced character, it's
Yeah,
totally
I think I have. Okay, so right now I have battle as my lowest, and then I have move, understand, and then discipline and communicate as my highest.
I'm into that. I think
I
that
feel like
that's
a steward's not really like a fighter, right? Especially
no, yeah,
cardinal.
no, I agree. And here's the other thing too, where this game is very abstract. It may not be the best character for one shots, right? But like if we're playing out a full campaign, conflict is like dinner parties. Conflict is, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not always fights,
Oh
and it's
shit,
not
maybe I
always.
should do something with that's just a
Go
little
for
bit
it.
more fighty because it'll be one shots.
Yeah, that again, your call totally if you want to do that. But I'm saying like you
I have
don't
a
always have to make a fighty person for this game, and especially like you could. There's even a concept where you could do like secondary characters. Like if you got some motherfucker that's never leaving the house, you have a secondary character who's out there like fighting monsters and shit. You know what I mean? So, um,
I have a quick question. In what cases would like psychiatry be a thing you would need to know? Like, can you like would you be able to like convince somebody using your psychiatry knowledge? Is that like a thing?
Yeah, it's here's the thing about this game. It's not like I said. It's very abstract, right? So you're
Right.
never like combats are on a contest thing, and it's not like there's no hit points, there's no weapons really. There's a thing called assets. Um, so it's like really abstract. You basically just like the bad guy rolls their test, and however many successes they get, you have to get more than them to win, right?
Okay.
But combats aren't conflict isn't always combat. Conflict can be like two merchants pissed at each other and like doing a trade war, or people sniping at each other at a dinner party, or like spying on each other. Like conflict is actually broken down into like several different several different. Uh, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Let's see. Man. 1 second. Oh, here we go. Conflict. Forms of conflict. Dueling, right? Obviously, that's a big one. Skirmish, like larger warfare, can be handled in this system as well. Um, Espionage, um, warfare, like big scale warfare as well. And then there's also intrigue, right? That's kind of where probably psychiatry would come into play on like intrigue conflict.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm debating between psychiatry and traps.
I'm into traps. That's pretty rad.
I'm into both. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I think I might
That's
go
the
with
thing.
traps for
And
this.
Megan, here's my thing, right? Just because you're a cardinal, you're in a church where your main export is fucking assassins. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just don't know if I should go strategist just to be a little bit more. I don't know if I'll be useful or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that it's definitely your decision.
Without metagaming too much, what do you think?
I would say what are the main stats for strategist again?
Focuses are Canley and strategy. Primary skill understand. Secondary skill battle.
Yeah. I would probably do strategist for this. I think it's maybe a better.
I mean, maybe for a long campaign, I feel like I would like steward more because I just like kind of conniving people. But
yeah, let's do that. I think it's probably a safer bet, just for like what we have in the tank, and if somehow this ends up being like an ongoing campaign or something, um, we can definitely make a more conniving character for you as well. So yeah, so with strategist we got primary skills understand, secondary skills battle. So you would just distribute the skill points the way that I said before. Uh, understand, you're going to have a 6 in battle. You're going to have a 5, and then 4s in the other 3 skills. Um, um, and so you have
shit,
5.
I think communicate might be my worst one for this then.
I'm into that.
We're just gonna. None of us are gonna be able to communicate.
But we're supposed to be charismatic. Damn.
All just idiots. Yeah, like the house is very charismatic, and people are going to find out real quick that the people on the lower echelons are not necessary.
So what is move? Explain that to me real quick, because maybe I'll make that my lowest input.
Move is like dexterity in D&D.
I feel like that's probably important.
Could be.
What about discipline?
Discipline is like sort of like um, courage under pressure.
3 for 7, 34.
All of these are important. Fuck it.
They're all pretty important.
Okay.
But there's not like a big, you know what I'm saying? Like you're between 8 and 4. You know what I'm saying? Like the worst is like one of them is 4 better than the other. You know what I mean? so it's not like a big swing. And that's kind of the point. Your characters are good. You know what I mean? Like they are established and good at what they do. And advancement doesn't really take these skill numbers up or down much. You basically just pick different talents and do other stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like, really, it's not that big of a deal in this game as much. Like I said, the whole system is really like mechanics light and pretty simple. So
Okay, well then I'll go strategist.
and then your focuses, you're gonna have Canley and strategy, and those need to be set on your primary and secondary. You can pick whichever one you want to put the focus on, and then we'll pick two other.
Where do those go on my sheet?
Right beside this, where it says focuses, right beside where you put the skull.
Oh my god.
So like in. Okay,
The Panthers are Darnold in.
It's the big box right there beside the.
So yeah, I just am not understanding like where. So is it like battle with a focus and Canley?
Yes, focus is like a. I've described focuses poorly. I can't remember exactly what they do, but it is there's like a mechanical benefit to have to like. For instance, if I say, you say I want to kill that guy, and I'll go, okay, give me a battle roll, or I guess this one would be give me a battle roll, and you put Canley on it. You get like a mechanical bonus for like doing a Canley assassination.
Okay, so then like maybe understand in strategy and then Canley and battle.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. And then so you would also get. I should have just bookmarked where these were.
Sorry, this was my fault because I didn't just want to be a Bene Gesserit.
So change.
You did just want to be a Bene Gesserit?
No, I didn't. So then we like were off from each other because I was picking stuff for so long.
No, it's all good.
It's all good.
Damn it! Oh my god! I truly hate PDFs. Why can't I ever find anything? Oh my god! Here we go. Okay. So your primary and secondary skills again?
Battle or understand is primary, battle is secondary.
So you're gonna pick two additional skills from either battle or focuses from either understand or battle. The battle focuses are on page 103. Assassination, atomics, which is like atomic weapons, dirty fighting, dueling, evasive action, laser gun, long blades, like use of swords, pistols, rifle, shield fighting, short blades, sneak attacks, strategy, which you already have, tactics, unarmed combat. And then the understand ones are, I've already listed a bunch of them for Peter, but they are like more like scientific or like knowledge-based skills, physics, poison, psychiatry, religion.
I mean, I'm definitely picking.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm definitely picking sneak attack.
Nice. Yeah, sneak attack's one of them. That's very good. So yeah, put that on battle as a focus.
Maybe I'll just do religion then as a secondary understand as.
Yeah, no, I'm into that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, religion's very good because you're a cardinal.
Not awesome. For this guy. I don't know what this guy is.
She's.
But you're part of a church house. A church house. Cool. So yeah, that's step 4 focuses. Okay, talents are the next thing. Are we all good? Like, do we understand skills and how they work? Kind of.
Yeah.
Like, at least vaguely, and we have 4 focuses, and we've applied the skill points, like raised the skill points to how we want them.
Yeah.
Am I all good?
Yep.
Radical. Step 5. Talents. A starting player has 3 talents representing special abilities, advanced techniques, and other significant benefits. These abilities, which define a character, helping them stand out and feel special. Your chosen archetype will provide a. Sorry, I looked it down and stopped reading the page. I'm looking at something else. Your chosen archetype will provide a single talent, and it will suggest several options which are appropriately thematic for the archetype. You may choose a different talent if you wish, but at least one of your talents should relate to your chosen archetype in some way. So yeah, you can see. For instance, I'll go up to strategist and spy. Oh yeah, you guys are both academics. I like that. Hidden motives is a suggested talent for spy, and master at arms is a suggested talent for strategist. Let's see here. Talents are page 144. Christ in heaven. All right. Let's see. Hate PDFs. Hate PDFs so much.
It's also wild that they're like, go pick your talent, but no, it's not here.
Yeah, it's honestly the book is beautiful, but it's not like super well organized. I would say. Man, is it seriously? Oh my god! There's a list of talents. Why is it not here?
It says it begins on page 127.
That's traits. I was on one fucking part. Sorry, what did you say? 127.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, we definitely found it. Okay. So, yeah, you're suggested. They're in alphabetical order starting page 127. You get 3 talents. One of them, I think you have to take the archetypical one, and then you get 2 others. So there is hidden motives, for instance.
Yeah, that was the spy one, yeah.
Master at concealing your intentions and motivations. When an opponent fails an understand and communicate test against you, you may immediately create a trait which reflects a mistaken belief they have about you. So, like, for instance, if I have an enemy fail one of those rolls against you, you can be like, okay, he thinks I'm gullible or whatever. So like that kind of puts him on the back foot. You're not actually gullible, but like he thinks you are, which is I think a solid move. So I would say I would write hidden. You get talents are listed in this box right here.
Right.
So I would just write hidden motives and then the page number that it's on so that we can refer to the PDF. It's page 128. And then the other one was Master at Arms. Let's see here. Master at Arms. Your expertise in battle is considerable, and few can match your effectiveness in combat. At the start of a duel, skirmish, or battle scene, select a single asset that represents a melee weapon or a unit of troops. Due to your prowess, you may spend one momentum turn to improve that asset's quality by 1. Quality is it's a whole other thing, but this is a solid skill because this basically means that like you're taking the DC of someone who is doing a test against you up by 1, like in a battle. So, Master at Arms talent, page 129, and then here's like the rest of the list. You guys can pick 2 more off of this list, and they are really, I think, kind of what fleshes out what your character is good at.
I think I want to do Binding Promise.
Binding Promise, that's cool.
Uh,
Succeeded a communicate test to persuade someone to agree to a promise or agreement. You may spend 1, 2, or 3 points of momentum to make that agreement binding. If that person wishes to break the promise, they must spend a threat equal to so that basically like fucks me over if I try to like betray you.
Yeah.
I
thought that might be good for like our vibe.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely into that. So
Although
yeah,
I
my
don't have
advance is
communicate.
full page
Dune
127 for
universe.
that. What I took was the slow blade. I remember my guy was a sword fighter. I took the slow blade, which is basically like I'm good at fighting. I'm good at fighting like knife to knife with dudes that have like those shield generators. Um, uh, when you make an attack during a duel or a skirmish using a melee weapon, you buy one or more dice by spending momentum. You may choose one of the enemy's assets in the same zone as your attack. You can ignore that asset during the attack. So basically, like if they have an energy shield that would, there's a whole bunch of combat rules that we'll go over once we actually start playing the game. But basically, it means I can like ignore a portion of his like armor class, for lack of a better word. Um, Nimble was another one that I took, which is when attempting a move test to move over, around, or through difficult terrain or similar physical obstacles, such as during a duel or skirmish, you may reduce the difficulty of the test by 2. Meaning, like if uh, if I needed to get 3 successes to pass something, uh, like to do difficult terrain, I could drop it down to 1, um, or even 0 actually. So there's a lot of different ones. So if you see anything that like sticks out to you, you can pick those and tell us what you're getting.
I think I'm gonna pick ransack for my other one. It says when you attempt to understand test to search an area, you may add 2 threat to reduce the difficulty of the test by 1 and have the amount of time the test takes to attempt. Which
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
I just feel like that could be generically useful.
Yeah, I'm very into that. So basically, you remember the threat and momentum mechanic. You give me 2 threat points to reduce, to make it so that you only need to, you get 1 less success to win. Um, and if there's a time factor, you have it, which is very narratively interesting as well. I like that a lot. Did you find any you like, Peter?
I'm gonna go with the Twisted Mentat. I think it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I figured that one was going to be dope. Whenever you attempt an understand test, you generate 1 bonus momentum point for each die you bought by adding to threat. This bonus momentum may only be used to obtain information about the most effective ways to harm or inflict pain upon a person within the scene, or create a trait which represents a weakness you have discovered which you can exploit. The talents may only be chosen in character creation. Oh, this talent may only be chosen in character. Very dope. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and then I don't know what my third one's gonna be yet.
Okay. All good.
I see.
Yeah, I might
50
Go ahead.
I might change ransack or something. I'm still just perusing, but that's what I picked for now.
Of course. Cool. So let's we'll come back to that real quick. We'll do drives because we're almost actually finished. Look at the drives. Also assets. Yeah, we're pretty close. So yeah, pick your talents, and then we'll do drives and drive statements, which is I think a very cool thing. So how's everybody doing? I mean, I know that, again, this is it's a slick, cool system. It is really different than D&D. Like
Yeah.
it's very.
I'm having a hard time just like fully understanding, which I think once we play, we'll be totally fine. But it's like hard to sort of parse what is going to be useful and what's not going to be useful, just because I don't know.
Yeah, and that's always a problem with RPGs. But until you like get on the ground and are actually playing in the game, you don't know what's good and what's bad. Here's what I'll say. I watched a Let's Play of this that actually they ran the same one of the one shots we're gonna run. And at the end of the day, what's really important is, I think you can strip away even a lot of this game, like the assets and the talents make stuff really interesting and whatever. I would say that the most important mechanic is skill plus drive, and roll the 2d20 roll, and the like bargain that the player and the GM makes on what that roll is going to be. You basically like, I'll tell you, you tell me what you're going to do. I tell you the skill you're going to use for that, and then you tell me why your character is driven to succeed to do that thing, right? And otherwise, it's really kind of narrative. Um, Conflict obviously has a lot of rules and stuff, but they're pretty light, honestly, and pretty simple. It's just that all of the concepts of this game are um, a little nebulous and like very different than uh, how you're kind of like told to think about these games if you only have played D. So kind of where it's at. I feel you. And again, we're just doing a couple one shots. So if your characters suck, characters suck. It's fine.
We'll kill them off. It's fine.
Kill them off. Doesn't matter. Are you guys ready to go on to the next thing?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do make haste just so I can do things speedily.
I'm into that.
Pardon?
Cool. I am into that.
Oh, sorry. I thought you asked what is that, and I was like,
Is that? No, I got you. Okay, cool. So here's the next part. Drives are until now, character creation has focused on what does the character do. This step deals with the other side of the character. What do they believe? Every character has 5 drives. You can see these on your character sheet. Duty, faith, justice, power, and truth, which are described in the previous chapter and rated between 4 and 8, representing how important that drive is to the character. 8 representing the most important thing to the character, and 4 representing something they care little about. So you're going to rank these duties in however you want. 8 to 4 down the board. And these are what drive you, right? So duty, for instance, and again, they're a little nebulous, right? They don't have to necessarily be like a direct thing. Like when I talked about faith not necessarily being religion, justice not necessarily being like law, maybe it's revenge, right? But these are the things that drive you. So my character, how I did it was duty 8, justice 7, power, truth, faith. And that's just how I ranked them. You can rank them however you kind of envision your character having those drives. So you can kind of see how a skill and a drive go together to create the target for a role. Yeah, rank those, and then we'll go on to the next part, which is drive statements, which are essentially.
So even though we're a faith-based civilization, it's more like my personal what I feel instead of. Okay. So even though I don't think I will rank faith very high, even though we're a faith-based thing.
Yeah, you don't have to. This is what drives you. Like this is how like your internal sort of compass, like your moral compass. And let me know once you guys have ranked those, and then I'll describe what drive statements do.
I think I've ranked mine.
Are you good, Pete?
I'm thinking.
Okay, no.
Sorry, I'm so indecisive.
It's all good. Hey, and again, like I said, this is a very cool system, very fucking different than what we're used to.
This is true. We rank them 4 through 8, right? With 8 being the highest.
4 through 8, 8's the highest.
Okay. Debating whether my spy would have a higher duty or a higher faith.
So duty can be to probably duty is the one that's like most tied to like a power structure. Duty to your house or duty to the Imperium, maybe, or like duty to the church in your case. What was your other thing? Justice.
Or,
Justice doesn't
sorry,
necessarily have. Oh,
faith was what I was saying. Justice is
yeah,
gonna be the
faith
lowest one for
again
me.
doesn't need to be religious. Faith can be in a power structure or a person or a concept or whatever. Um, that is kind of how they work.
Okay,
All right, so are you good?
I am now. Yes.
Okay, so the next thing is drive statements. Once you've defined your character's drives, you'll need to define some statements. Uh, they go on the top three most important drives, so the ones that you rank six, seven, and eight. Um, uh, you, they are basically like a manifestation of that drive, and they are something that there's a mechanic for going against, for instance. So, um, for my character, my drive statements were for duty. I can survive danger, so I should. Like, it is my duty to put myself in harm's way so other people don't have to. Justice, my lord's will is law. Like, basically, like, whatever he fucking says goes. Power, no one has a sharper blade. So, like, one of the drive statements should be kind of hubrisy. Um, so, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. You will want to have at least one drive statement that poses a problem for your character, because that's how you gain more determination, which is another sort of determination, threat, and momentum are like fungible, like like assets in the game you can gain and use. But basically, determination is kind of like going against your drives. But basically, on the whole, the drives should be like one's positive, one is kind of like can go either way maybe, and then one should be kind of like hubrisy, like one should be like a problem for you, and that's how it kind of goes. So like for instance, my good one right is like I should put myself in harm's way for people. My lord's will is law is like, and he could tell you to do some fucked up shit, and if you don't want to do it, you're gonna have to go against that drive, right? No one has a sharper blade. He's kind of a he thinks he's the shit, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he's like uh, too confident in his skill, and that is power for him. Yeah, those are kind of how that's kind of what the drive statements should look like. You can be creative as you want with these, but that is essentially what the list is.
Okay, and so do we make these up?
Yeah, you just make them up.
Oh,
There
this is
are
so
they
much
said that
pressure.
they go into more detail on page 105.
Don't. I'll look.
I'm gonna scroll back to 105 and see if they can possibly be helpful. But I came up with mine. I just kind of like I had an idea in my head of like who the character was, and that was how I came up with it. Let's see. Page 105 drive statements. Okay, example. Okay, yeah. So there's examples. You can just take these examples. They're on page 106 actually, um, and they're broken down by stat or
Cool.
sorry, by drive.
And these are for our top three.
Nice.
Yeah, for the top three. So you can take those if you want, or you can make up your own, and they're listed here on the screen. For instance, example faith statements. Uh, Faith is merely obedience to the myths of the past, or God will deliver me to whatever fate is mine,
Ooh.
or justice statements. I must shield those in my care, or I will get revenge on those who have wronged me. So, like for instance, like for the revenge one, right? If you are gonna, if you pick to do a justice drive, and it goes directly against your like vendetta, like if you're trying to accomplish something with this role that like would be negative to you getting revenge and goes against your drive statement, you have to there's ways to get about that. You can basically like let me actually I have the descriptor here. Uh,
Which page are
and
you
I'm
on, by
also
the way?
Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
106.
106,
106.
And then like the actual PDF page is 115.
yeah. So if the player, challenging drives. If the statement for a drive being used does not contradict the action of the skill test, proceed as normal. The player may spend determination on the test. If the statement for the drive being used contradicts the action of the skill test, a challenge has occurred. The game master may offer the character a determination point. If the character refuses the determination point, they fail the skill test with no further consequences. If the player accepts the determination point, they must challenge or comply with their drive statement. In both cases, they use the chosen drive to make the skill test as normal, but afterwards, if they comply with the drive statement, they receive a complication. So basically, like kind of like with Monster of the Week, for instance, like the other Powered by the Apocalypse games, it's like a mixed success. You get like a complication on the way. Um, if you challenge your drive statement, they must put a line through the drive statement used and must change or recover that drive. Um, and basically, like later on, between the adventures, you could increase the drive. Like you would take that drive down one rank and increase the next one to like kind of take over as your main drive, for instance. And then you would create a new drive statement. Um, so basically, like the drive is something you don't want to go against unless you have like a real reason to do so. Um, and they don't necessarily reflect your best uh, intentions or uh, goals. Like they could be based on hubris or could be a problem.
Okay, so what I have for mine, I have my top one is power, and then I have my statement as power must be used wisely and cleverly. Then I have justice as my number 2, and I said I will get revenge on those who have wronged me. And then my third is duty, and I know my responsibilities.
Very good. So, for instance, like, you'll need to maybe think a little bit about who has wronged you, and we can talk about that at some point, um, which I think is a fun little exercise as well. But, like, for instance, like, again, it's the exact same example that I'd used before. If you do something that goes against getting your revenge, like directly, like if it like derails your revenge, you would cross that duty statement out. You have the choice to cross that duty statement out and change your drive uh, accordingly. Like drop it down one and then put your second highest one in that space.
Okay, cool.
That's how that works.
This is wild.
It's a crazy game. Like it's a really, really different game. Um, Star Trek, the Star Trek Adventures game that I talked to you a little bit about a couple days ago, runs on this same core mechanic, but I don't know how. I think that the like philosophical stuff is like not really that present in the Star Trek version of the game. It's mostly just the 2d20s. You combine the skill and the drive. I think that there may be different things. Like maybe it's like skill and like rank or something. But basically you combine the two skills. You roll under the stat.
Sure.
Anyway, what were you saying, Peter?
I was gonna say my statements. So my highest is truth, and I have my studies have taught me to seek truth at all costs. My second is power, and my statement is through my information I will become unstoppable. And for faith, which was my third one, my statement is those who defy my faith will be punished. Is that all, like are all three too similar, too dramatic, or
no? I think that honestly, being single-minded is fine as long as one of them is like a problem for you and one of them is like kind of virtuous and you can you know what I'm saying, and I think that is kind of the case, right?
Yeah.
So I think that totally works.
Sick. Cool.
Radical, very dope. We are almost finished. There are 2 more steps, I believe. Oh, sweet Christ in heaven, I hate okay. Drives, very good. Choose drives. Did that. Okay, assets. This is like the last thing that we really are gonna have to do, other than like finishing touches type stuff. So assets are like the rest of the game, very nebulous. They can be a thing, or they can be an idea, or they can be a helicopter, or they can be a group of soldiers, or they can be a knife. Like assets are essentially tangible or intangible. They can be contacts, favors. They can be like blackmail stuff. Um, so uh, assets are the thing that we're going to do now. You get, let's see. A starting character should have three assets, one of which must be tangible. So, for instance, and there's a big list of the assets as well. Go ahead and pull that up. One second. It's chapter 7. That's conflict. Okay, assets. That's another thing as well. Okay, here we go. Assets listings. So they start on page 194 of the book, page 203 of the PDF. Here's the assets I took. They can be anything that is tangible or intangible, like I said. So I picked one that is uh, both for my first thing. I took blade. So yes, that's a tangible blade, right? It is a knife, but it was gifted to me by the Lord of the House, so it is also kind of a badge of office, right? Um, so for instance, like I can use this asset as like I have this directly from the Lord, like I speak with his like with his voice, that kind of thing, as an asset. Um, if used correctly, a knife can penetrate a shield, uh, and thus is a common part of hand-to-hand combat. Some blades are presented as ceremonies used to signify rank and status, which in instance mine is as well. Um, so it's that kind of thing. Another one I had was a Cybus hood, which is what is it? Page 197. Cybus hood, malleable, flexible black mask created by the Ixians. Placed over the wearer's face. It completely conceals all their features. It's basically like a Mission Impossible mask, uh, and I have it physically, right, like it's a tangible asset that I can use, um, but it also kind of signifies infiltration, sort of like uh, you know that kind of thing. And then I have an elite troop as well. It's page 202. Um, which is literally like a group of soldiers, right? Um, essentially meaning this asset is like, yes, I have a group of soldiers. They are like, as swordmaster, they are maybe my like students, or they are maybe um, like the uh, Lord's guards or something. I can they can be a badge of office type thing, or they can be a literal like, here's guys, like this is my command. I can send them where I want or do whatever. So again, assets are like really nebulous, and there's a big list of them, and you get three. One of them should be tangible. Um, uh, but they don't all have to be tangible. They can all be a little different thing. Like for instance, there's one you can get, like literally one of them is like blackmail evidence, um, which can be tangible or intangible. Um, let's see here. There's probably intrigue. You can get literally a fucking helicopter, an ornithopter if you want. Uh, uh, let's see. Intelligence is one, just like straight up, like you maybe have Um, Intelligence gathering goes both ways. Those searching for secrets might be giving away valuable details themselves. Um, you know, you have an assassin on your payroll, that kind of thing. This one's the one where it gets a little like it's always been a little nebulous. This game, this is where it gets like very nebulous. But yeah, so you can pick three out of that list. Um,
I'm gonna need some time to look at these.
yeah, I think that's true. But yeah, so that's essentially the deal there. Um, and you don't really have to spend too much time on it. Like I was saying, we're just doing a couple one shots, and you can lose or gain assets. There's even a thing where you can like make assets by spending momentum in the game, basically being like, you know what I mean. So like, this is I think it's an important choice, but it's not necessarily like the most important thing. Really, the most important thing is like the drives and skills, drive statements, and your focuses. Um, and so we're kind of just like at the sort of like uh, cherry on top type things to the assets. Um, that is how that goes. And then the finishing touches are the last thing. Okay. So yeah, select one additional trait for your character is going to be like the last thing, one of the last things we do. Um, Reflecting like your personal reputation um, uh, is one more thing that you need to pick. So, for instance, I took uh, reckless and brash were my personality traits that I took. But however you see your character, take one additional trait and put that there, and then they'll need an ambition as well. Ambitions are like a guide to your long-term actions, like what they want to achieve. Um, a character who takes steps to achieve their ambitions will become more capable, more influential, and generally more effective. Um, During your character creation, your ambition should be based on your highest rated drive, and your game master will work with you to define one for your character. So, for instance, uh, what's your highest drive, Megan?
Power.
Ambitions for power are about gaining influence or status, taking those things from others, manipulating those with influence or status, or changing the ways that people gain influence or status. So, your ambition, which is on the character sheet right here in this one little block at the bottom of this box, um, whatever your character wants to achieve um, uh, is the ambition. Um, and then finally, personal details, just name. There's a good like list of names here that you can use that are Dune centric.
It's very likely that my character will be Susan Colorado. So like,
Colorado, very good. I love it.
we'll just see.
Yeah, personality, all this kind of stuff, like all the sort of like fill in the blanks type things. Personality, what are you like? Appearance, what do you look like? That kind of thing. But those are just kind of the things you need to think about for your character um, that are what makes them them, and you can do that on your own later on. This is the sample character that they've made, um, uh, Kara of House Mole. You can see the duty rank the way that it is for her. Um, Skills, she did an even distribution for her. Focuses short blades, diplomacy, inspiration, and stealth. So she's a scrapper for sure. She's like a fighter, um, and maybe like a leader as well because she has diplomacy and inspiration. Um, Her drives are basically like trust based, but she's kind of an asshole. I get what I want, right? She's the heir to the house. The family trusts me, but you can't fucking tell me nothing, right? Her talents, you can see her traits here. She is a Bene Gesserit as well. She's honorable. She's noble. Um, she wants to become an assassin. That's like her ambition, and that's based on her faith, right? Um, Talents. She took hyper awareness, masterful innuendo. Masterful innuendo is like saying the big text in lowercase, I guess. It's more like uh, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm thinking, but you won't even know what I said, or maybe you like have to pick up on it. Starting asset, she had literally a knife. She has her own ornithopter, but she also has blackmail evidence, which is kind of a less tangible thing. Um, but yeah, so that's essentially what the characters look like, and this is the sort of sample one. So um, that is all. We're done. There's some fill in the blanks type stuff that you guys need to do. We need to figure out maybe what your roles are. I think obviously, right, you're uh, kind of a you're not the cardinal now. So the roles we would probably need to go back to develop the house roles
Oh,
for who.
So I'm a
bosses are.
strategist. I figured there has to be some sort of like war master, and I can just work under them, right?
Yeah, for sure. And there is a war master, so yeah, you can work under the war master. We'll do a little generated name for the war master.
Douglas, Pennsylvania.
Fayroy Coat.
Fayroy Coat sounds beautiful.
That's Coat, Cotte. Very dope. All right, and then yeah. So Peter, you're a mentat. So you're probably under the advisor, I would assume.
Yeah. I was thinking probably under the advisor since I'm like a spy mentat.
Lipatar and Pez.
There we go. Lipatar empanada.
I love it.
Green guitar empanada.
Sounds good to me.
West Virginia does not have empanadas the way that Colorado does, and it is
God.
It's unfortunate. So yeah, so in your what did we decide on a name for the house as well? That's like probably the last consideration.
I liked your idea of the DBs.
yeah,
Not gonna lie.
Very appropriate.
It's house DB.
I love it. I love it.
Beautiful.
Nice block.
Nice. Very dope. House to DB. Fan of it. Cool. And then yeah. So your role, I would say just like assistant advisor or like under advisor, that kind of thing. Megan, yours is probably like chief tactician or something like that. So you can put that in role. Faction, Peter, you would need to put Mentat on faction. Yeah. Other than that, we're good to go. So, I hope you guys had a good time. And I hope that even though the game is a little nebulous, we're excited to see what fucking pops off.
I'm extremely curious at this point.
Yeah,
like, I think it'll be fun to play once we get into it, but, right now I have no idea what to expect.
It's a real different game. And I would say, too, that, like, at least the first one-shot we're running, because that's the one that I've gotten prepped, is, a little less intrigue and a little more action. And then the second one-shot is the opposite. It's a little more intrigue and a little less action. So we'll see how it goes. It's a very different type of thing. Yeah, that is the game, and we will see how it goes. I'm not sure when we're actually playing. I think it may be week after next. Yeah. You guys have any questions?
If I decide to switch from the strategist to the steward, I will let you know.
That's all good. Hey, and honestly, it should be pretty simple to do that.
I dig the cardinal vibe a lot, and I don't have a real picture for the strategist, but I'm going to give myself time to come up with one.
It's a big, and here's the thing. It's a big house. It's a full house, you might say. And I'm not even gonna make a joke. How rude! It was
Everywhere you look.
So if you want to play the first one shot as this character, and you want to do the second one as the Cardinal, by all means, we can do whatever. But thanks to everybody who watched. I hope that this wasn't too confusing or pedantic for everybody. It seems like we've had viewers the whole time, which is very cool. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. It's been a very long time since we've streamed, so it was nice to see that people were still interested. And I, at least, am very excited uh, to play this game when we finally do. But yeah, I'm not really sure what the schedule is coming up. I know that we have Mutants and Masterminds is coming down the pipe. So we'll see. There'll definitely be information about that coming through on Twitter and TikTok and all that. So you all will know next time we're going to stream. And yeah. So,
yeah, thank you everybody so much. Especially shout out to Leo Effects for following, and then Triceratops and Hefty the Gamer for the subscriptions with their primes.
Even though he's on the channel.
Hey,
well,
I'll give him a thanks
bigger shout outs to the folks that aren't a part of the channel.
Yeah, let's maybe not do a shout out to the dude that makes the TikToks.
Hey, you know what? He ain't here to stop me.
That's honestly so fair. All right, yeah. So yeah, thanks everybody. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.